This video is part of the ITrac Free tutorial series. ITrac Free allows for up to 5 cases, 10 documents, and 5 videos per month at no cost. You can upgrade ITrac Free at any time to a paid version to expand the capabilities in the number of cases, documents, and videos that are allowed. This video will cover time and expense entry and creating invoices. First, go to Investigations. Click on the case that you wish to enter time and expenses for. And under Actions, go to Time and Expense Entry, T&E Entry. Select the request item that the work was performed for. That was entered at the case entry under the Request section. Note that when you select the request item, the work type, bill type, description, bill quantity, and rate get filled in. Enter the investigator that did the work, the date the work was performed, time and expenses can be entered by expanding the plus to view details here. Enter the start time, number of hours. This field, OR rate, is to override the rate that the investigator is being paid for this work if it's different from the rate that's set up in the investigator's setup file. If you have an expense to enter, you can enter that here. This section, Bill to Client, is the amount to bill the client if you're going to bill the expense back to the client. And the expense quantity and expense rate are what you're going to pay the investigator for the expense. And if you wish to bill this expense to the client, check the invoice box. Mileage can also be entered. You can enter a description. Bill to client is the rate and the number of miles to bill the client. And pay investigator is the number of miles and the rate to pay the investigator. And if you wish to bill the miles to the client, check the invoice box here. Once you've completed entering the item, you can click the Save button. That will update the record, and it'll give you a new blank record if you need to enter additional items. You can also override any of these defaults that show up here. And again, click the Save button when finished. Note that the next invoice field will show the amount of the next invoice, which is the items that have been entered here. If you want to enter information for a different request item, just switch the request item. And once you're ready to create the invoice, you can preview it first by clicking Preview. Review the invoice items and the total. Confirm that everything is correct. Once you've reviewed the invoice and everything is correct, click Create. That will create the new invoice. And once the invoice is created, it will pop up in a new window and show you the invoice. This is a PDF format. You can save it or print it. If you save it, then you can attach it to an email and email it to the client. Invoices associated with a case can be viewed by clicking on the Invoices section of the case, and that will give you a list of all the invoices that are associated with that case. To view details for an invoice, just click on the invoice. It will show details for line items. Any adjustments that need to be made for the invoice can be edited here. And once you've finished the editing, click Save to update the records. Additional invoices can be entered by going back to Time and Expense Entry and performing the same process.